Hi and welcome. Well, we're on travel today. Look, I got my sweetie with me. It's cold. Where are we and where did we go? Wow, take a look at this. Look, see if I can catch it up around us here. Yeah, better if I turn the camera around the other way. We are in Salt Lake City, Utah. Actually, we went down to Provo, and we're headed up to Park City. And we wanted to stop here at Bridal Veil Falls. So what's for lunch? The Java Cow, huh? Park City. I am gonna have a crepe. And Lisa's gonna have a gluten-free biscuit of some kind. But what a cool place. Made it up to the top of the big village and ran across this jump system they have here. So apparently the ski jumpers can come down off these jumps and do doubles or triples and things like that, and then land in the water. There's a big pool down here. So in the bottom of the pool, I heard a guy explaining that there's some aerators down there that help wellings or something that help keep the skiers afloat a little better. So that helps them out so they can keep on the surface, and they can also see where the surface of the water is. It's pretty empty up here today. There's a breeze, but for the most part it's pretty nice and warm. There is snow on the ground just about everywhere. You can see off in the distance some more mountains. There's a valley down there. Absolutely gorgeous today. Probably about in the low 50s. Still lots of snow around. So yesterday was a day up in the mountains, up in the Olympic Village, Park City, all that area. And now it's going to be a little bit different day. But started out the day this morning. It's nice and cool, crisp. Starbucks, of course, to start the day. The view that we have most every morning when we look out our window, let me get the camera around here, is the mountains off in the distance here. So that's actually the view that we have out of our hotel window every morning. Of course, I'm in a different spot right now. But Lisa had an album retreat. That's the reason we're out here this week. There's the Close to My Heart building. I came across the street so I could get a good view of the sign, and I can see the mountains from here as well. But for today, what I'm going to be doing is I am actually going to load up and go out to the Bonneville Salt Flats, someplace I've never been. Thought it'd be really kind of different. Of course, I have to go to the store, pick up some items, water, some snacks, those types of things, because I've heard that there's absolutely nothing out there and had to be somewhat prepared. So it'll be a day on my own today. Go out and do that, and if I don't like that, I'll go around and find something else. There's plenty of mountains around here to explore, and that's what makes this place so exciting to me. It's just being able to see all the different stuff. Well, I finally made it out to the Bonneville Salt Flats, as you can see from the sign behind me here. But what it looks like is it has rained recently. I asked a guy, one of the attendants here at the rest area, and he said yes, it had rained here recently. So it's more of a very shallow salt lake right now than salt flats. So I'll go along the shore, take a peek at things, and see what's what out here. But today may be a bust for me out here at the Salt Flats. Well, there'll be no racing today. Looks like an amazing area. It's a real shame there's nobody out here today. I bet this would be amazing to see with a lot of people and cars racing out here. And a roundup pen for what? Kids? Pets? Not sure. Well, I can see some tire tracks under the water there. Water's not very deep. But it is pretty interesting, the salt built up on top of these rocks that are out here. It's still pretty cold out here today. It's in the 40s, maybe 50 at the very most. So pretty chilly. Okay, so where I was previously was actually at a rest stop along I-80, or maybe a highway that came off I-80. Not exactly sure. But anyway, I looked on Google Maps to see if there was anything in the area, and actually saw that this was the Speedway area off to the side, another couple miles away. So I drove over here. It's closed. Again, as you can see, water everywhere. The reason I say that is because they have this sign here, and it looks like it's pretty much set, closed to the vehicles because it's wet. So I did see some dry areas, and I saw one vehicle out there. Other than that, it's a couple inches deep of water. Not quite as far as you can see, but pretty close. So not much going on out here. I'm about halfway down the Bonneville Flats International Speedway Road here. It's a couple miles long, but it's just a little drier here. You can see the salt flats. People have been playing around. There's still signs up saying be careful that the ground is still a bit soft. But see, lots of people have been playing out here, and there is a guy way off in the distance across the flats here. I'm not sure what's up with that, so I'm going to set the camera down and see if I can steady it. I'm going to zoom in to see what's up with this guy, what he's doing. But zoom in a little bit so you can see the mountains and everything. That's probably a little bit better perspective of what it looks like for me right now with these mountains. Beautiful area. Sand's a little darker here, or salty sand. The reason it was so wet before, they said it's seasonal, and the groundwater comes up, so nobody's out racing on that down at the end of the road. But let me zoom in on this guy. So I'm not sure what's up with this guy. He's camping out here, what he's doing, but he is out on the flats. I saw him out walking around. They said down at the end of the road, I just missed a show, some guy came zooming right down the road in a car and drove right out into the water. They thought he was going to get stuck. There was a guy camping out there. He's the one that was telling me about it. But he had a little van that he had converted into a camper that was pretty cool. And I talked to him for a little bit. He was actually from Bellingham, Washington, and he's been traveling all over the place. Came through Banff and came down to here to the Salt Flats. So this is a nice place, a little different, very dry, except for the salt that's underwater. So I haven't reached the end of the road out here, the Bonneville Salt Flats. It looks like somebody's doing some boondocking out here along the side, right up next to the mountains, and can't really blame them. That's a pretty cool place to be camping. But it looks like they picked a nice spot out of the way, and they're enjoying nature out here. That's very cool. Cruising along in the middle of nowhere. So these are the mountains, I guess on one side of Salt Lake, on the other side I guess from Salt Lake. But so coming down this long stretch of road here, I see, let's see if I can keep the sun from shining too hard on this. This is the Army Depot location. So it's a big long stretch of this. And they have signs up all around it. Let's see if I can get a sign here. So I wanted to take it off the beaten path way back to get back to the hotel, and was really starting to wonder if Google ran me off into nowhere. Road turned gravel a little bit. I had some cattle crossing stuff I went over. Cattle land. Actually, it's a very nice drive though, once you got back onto the main road, which it did. So I'm on the back side of the mountains, long stretches through the countryside, small towns, kind of going around the small towns. But it is beautiful out here. Well, as predicted, if you don't get there early, you won't find anywhere to park. And it was parked in the parking lot, and people parked all the way on the sides, all the way out to the road. I had to squeeze in between about halfway and realized there was no way I was going to be able to park in there. So I had to back out around a curve to get out of the parking lot. I'm going to see about the other trail entrance to see if I can get in. I didn't even have time to stop and video anything in that parking lot. It's 10:45, and like they say, you got to be there early to be able to get in there. It's absolutely true. Well, I made it to the trailhead on the other side of the mountain. It was gravel road. It finally turned into paved road. Got to the other side of the other trailhead, and there was no one here. No one at all. While I was packing up my gear, I met another lady, and it looks like her sons, 2 sons, and we're going to hike in. So I made it down. There's probably, maybe 16 people down here altogether. I'm going to only get into the hot pool. as much as I am hot now. It doesn't really matter. It was a up and down hike, kind of steep, but it was fun. So this will be good. All right.
We're posing.
I'm here with some of my closest friends, right? Yeah. Right. It is still pretty chilly out.
Yep.
That's okay. This hot spring is nice and warm.
Nice and warm.
So there's a couple of them cascaded down through here. You can get in this pool. It is plenty warm. And then there's another pool on the other side. That one's nice and warm from what I hear. I hadn't been there yet. And then you can take a dunk in the cold tank over here, which I did just a little bit ago. And I laid down and did a quick push-up in it and came and jumped back in this water because you have to be insane like me to do something like that. But it was fun. I hiked in from the other side, so I avoided all the people. There's a family that came in with me. They're hiking out now. They had fun. And this rock wall here, there's tons of ice all up through there. So you can see it's still plenty cold here. But it was worth it. I'm gonna eat lunch here and I'll have a good time. It took me a lot longer to get up here or get back here than it did to get up here. My knees have about had it. I spent about 2.5 hours there in the hot springs. And see, my shadow's starting to get long, so I need to get back. All right, so it's 4:30. It took me twice as long to get out of there as it did to get in. And that's okay. Took some breaks along the way, drank some water. I had my snack lunch while I was in there at the hot springs. I spent probably 2.5 hours in the hot springs. It was really nice. I met a lot of nice people. The Jen and her boys I met here at the trailhead, they were very nice. They got there a lot faster than I did, so goodbye, snow. Yep. Cows on the road. Battle Creek Falls this morning before our flight out today. We've got this cool little bridge we're going over, and hopefully we'll make it up to the falls. It's about a mile hike or so, I think. It's up on gravel and it's kind of rough on Lisa's foot and her ankle. So we'll see how far we make it today. Here we are at the edge of the Great Salt Lake. We actually walked all the way out to the very edge, as close as we could. It's cold out here today, but that's okay. It's worth doing to come out and see. It's nice. You see the mountains in the background here with snow on them. cold, wants to go back. I don't blame her. But it's pretty neat standing right on the edge out here.